All right, moving on to our next sleeper, the Atlanta Hawks. Now, we did a video on the Hawks when Kristaps Porzingis was traded. We said we loved the deal. I still love the deal. They made more moves during the offseason. They acquired Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Luke Kennard, which I think is going to be a very interesting pickup for them because when you have Trae Young running a pick and roll, you're going to need shooters. And I think the way you build an offense or a team around Trae Young is very similar, actually, to the way you build one around Jalen Brunson, where it's like you get a bunch of people who can shoot and play defense. And they seem to do that. They did lose Clint Capella, Karis LeVert, Larry Nance Jr., Terrence Mann, George Niang, and David Roddy. So a lot of their roster is gone. They're not as deep as I think a contender can be. There are players like Kobe Buffkin who might get more playing time this year, so we'll see, if he steps up in his role. But for me, I think in general, I love the direction that this Atlanta Hawks team is going. You surrounded him with shooters like Luke Kennard, who can shoot the three. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, low-key, can shoot the three, as you saw with Minnesota, especially in the playoffs. And then Kristaps Porzingis, a great pick-and-pop option. He can also protect the rim when he's healthy, playing defense. Nickeil Alexander-Walker is a fantastic defender. You pair him with Dyson Daniels, my goodness. So I think, they are making the right moves in Atlanta. I do think they need a little more reinforcements and a deeper bench, and we'll see if anybody can step up and take those roles on. But in the Eastern Conference, where the Celtics are going to have a down year, gap year, Tyrese Halliburton's going to be missing time the whole season for the Pacers. You have the Knicks, the Cavs. After that, to me, a lot of question marks. So why not the Hawks? Sleepers.
Kwab, why not the Hawks? I think the one thing, like you said, when we talked about the Kristaps trade, we're like, oh, this is a perfect fit for this team. Again, the question marks that come with that is he healthy? Because he had a weird injury stretch last year with the Celtics. But from what I've read, it seems like because he's preparing to play overseas for his national team, seems like he's healthy. To your point where you made about the Hawks, surround Trae Young with capable defenders and shooters.
Yeah.
And doing that, getting Nickeil Alexander-Walker is another great pickup for them. Getting Luke Kennard, who's a knockdown shooter, is another greater pickup for them. To me, it comes down to is Kristaps healthy? Is Jalen Johnson healthy? Because Jalen was basically headed towards maybe a most improved player, player of the year award. How well he's been playing.
Jalen Johnson's an all-star when he's healthy. I'm going to throw it out there. He's an all-star. He's that good.
Ridiculous. Yeah. So they have pieces. Like you have Jalen Johnson. You also have Zachary Ricochet, who had
under the radar good rookie season.
Number one pick under the radar.
Nobody knows who the hell he is.
Nobody talked about it, and he progressed throughout the games. Hawks games I was able to catch. There were moments I was like, okay, you can see it with him because a player of his size, as a wing, he can shoot, he can handle the ball, he can pass. So they have a lot of pieces around Trae. And then them getting rid of or basically letting Clint Capella go shows how much confidence they have in Onyeka as a big, who they have loved for so many years. I feel like they just wanted to get off the Clint Capella contract for so many years.
Yeah.
So again, they have a bunch of players that they can have different versatile lineups. Like Kristaps is the type of player he can play at 5, he can play at the 4 because of his ability to shoot.
Yeah.
You put Trae Young around all these wings and run a pick and roll with him. He's a master in terms of being able to pass, being able to shoot also. And like you said, there aren't a lot of. It doesn't feel like there's a lot of elite teams in the East this year. So you can be a top 3 team in the East. You could be a top 2 team in the East. You never know. Like if you just win some games, and stay healthy, and stay healthy in the East. So that's the reason why we have the Hawks as a sleeper.
Yeah. Also, I think people are forgetting how good Trae Young is, and I'm saying this as a Knicks fan.
Yeah.
I mean, he's somebody who is literally unstoppable in pick and roll situations if you have shooters. I mean, there's nothing you can do. If you drop, he's going to hit a 3. If you trap him, he's going to make the right pass. And if you trap him now with Porzingis hitting the screen, that's a 3 ball. Like if you kind of just hedge a little bit, he's always going to make the right pass. He's going to hit a floater. He's going to hit a 3. He's going to draw a foul. He's always going to make a right decision. Trae Young, to me, has become a very underrated player in this league. I think, he had his coming out party, the year they went to the Eastern Conference Finals. He got hurt. Who knows what would have happened? Maybe they would have beat the Bucks. I think a lot of people forget that too. I mean, the Bucks won the championship, but also people forget that Trae got hurt that series. I'm not saying that the Hawks would have won, but I mean, they were playing really good basketball then. So to me, you got this player, Trae Young, who to me is a top 5 player in the East minimum. I mean, I can't think off the top of my head, but you have Giannis, you have Jalen. You have him. And if you surround him with defenders like a Dyson Daniels, who was a top 3 defender in the league, period. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Kristaps Porzingis. This roster's starting to make a lot of sense to me. In the past, it was like, yeah, we can put up 140, but we'll give up 142 and we'll lose.
Yeah.
And they were just the epitome of average. I remember there was like a 2-month period where they win, lose, win, lose, win, lose, win. It was just like
back to back.
It was crazy.
Weird.
I think it was 2 years ago. It was insane. I think you're going to see more consistency from the Hawks this year. Obviously, they got to stay healthy though, because to me, like I said, this is a very thin roster to me. It's really not filled out like the way that we were talking about the Mavs. It's not filled out like the Mavs roster or other rosters in the Eastern Conference. But the top end talent will get them far. I don't think they're better than the Knicks. I don't think they're better than the Cavs. But I do think the next tier, that discussion, I think you have to start with, the Hawks and the Magic. I think the Celtics are still going to be better than a lot of people think. I don't think they'll be contenders, but I still think they'll be better than people think. I think that's the next tier right here. And I think the Hawks, a really good year, a really good season. Yeah, they could be the 3 seed. Why not? Maybe even the 2 seed. Who knows? I think the Hawks are back. I do. And I think people are sleeping on Trae Young. To me, he's a very low-key dark horse MVP candidate. I'll even say that.
Yeah, I like that. I'll say the only thing I would probably like push back on you a little bit is that I think that the Hawks are kind of your deep-ish. I liked your rookie Ace Newell. Like, I've been a big fan of him for a while, and seeing how well he played during the summer league, you could tell how he kind of just slot in to with your front line. And I'm just saying, when I say deep-ish, I'm talking about if this team is healthy. We're talking about if this team is overall healthy. You have Trae Young, obviously your starting point guard aside, but you have all these wings with Nickeil, Dyson, Luke, Jalen Johnson. Like, you going down the list of just people that can definitely contribute in terms of winning. And then you have a decent front line with not decent. You have a really good front line actually with Kristaps, Onyeka, and Mohamed Gay. So that's to me in the East. That's a deep-ish team. It's not like you said. It's not like the Mavs when we start naming all these players, but that's a deep-ish team. Yeah, like you said, they're in that tier. Like, you don't really see them number one, but to me, they can get up there in that very top tier, just because you don't know how the games are going to play out. Like, we can go back and talk about how we saw the season playing out last year and the top teams we had, and a bunch of them mugs didn't cut it at all whatsoever. And our power rankings kept changing throughout the course of the year.
God,
so
dramatically.
Yeah. It was tremendous. So they're definitely in that second tier, like you said, around the second tier, but they have a chance of kind of like getting up there too if they start the season off the right way, and defensively they come out the right way.
Yeah, and to be fair to the Hawks too, lack of depth. I'm a Knicks fan. Like, we went 17. We went 17 last year. So, like, you don't have to be the deepest team in the world to be successful in the regular season as well.
True.
If your top end talent is there. Now, you do have Trae Young, who is top end talent as well. I think Jalen Johnson he was basically having a coming out party before he got hurt. So and Porzingis to me is one of the better fours in the league when he's healthy. You do have the top end talent is there as well. Everyone just got to stay healthy. To me, I don't think the Hawks can afford an injury or two. Not many teams can. I'm not saying, that a lot of teams can. It's a common sense. Like, yeah, of course, Josh, if someone gets hurt, they're going to suffer. But particularly the Hawks, I think if there's an injury to someone in their starting lineup, I think it's going to be more difficult for them to overcome that than other teams as well, especially at the top, like a Cavs team or a Knicks team or, other teams that are good throughout the NBA.